All right, Greg, what do you think? Can you hear me?
Yep, you're being recorded. Looking good, Danny.
We have a couple minutes of nothing here. We're still waiting on 3:30 to come so I give people a chance to log in. If you've not signed in, there's a sign-in sheet here and a sign-in sheet there. There's a sign-in sheet just about anywhere. Just sign in so we know you're here. Thank you, Tim. You are fine.
You want to take her? Write your name in the first box. Here. And put the dates with 8/5/24. Put RES. Right here. You want to hold there? Yes. And then put your signature. Sign your name.
I know you love him. You did such a good job taking care of him.
Chelsea.
Of course they do.
Good job.
Yeah. Man.
All right, guys, I've got 3:28. I'm going to give it another minute here. People are still logging in. I see Caitlin and Megan and Lauren and Greg all logged in, but I want to give people a chance to log in or be in the room so they can hear. She is not. But I can, you want to write them down?
Write them down and
You put down Megan Matthews
put
and
them down Zoom or Zoom in the building.
Caitlin Fortune.
Because if they are,
Megan's in the building, I
I
think.
think all of those people. Lauren, are you here? No. Okay. Anthony's on Zoom. Or is Sandra and all them listening? Oh, okay.
Otto was on this morning. Did you write down the name this morning?
I need to not call.
She said, but I know Ira was on there. I know Belle was on there. I know Bree was on
The
there.
majority of people were on this one.
Yeah, there was a lot of people on.
All right. Well, I got Lauren.
1 minute, guys.
Caitlin,
One more
and
minute.
Anthony. Is that it? Yes.
Megan, Lauren, Caitlin, Susan is here. Susan's got a very cool profile picture too. Susan, I like that. Don't forget to mute yourselves, guys, if you're not speaking, just so we don't get feedback. Oh.
Oh, you're good.
All right, guys. I think it's about time to get started, so I'm going to start talking here as we get going. What'd you get? Thank you. You want to go sit down with us? Is this Chelsea?
That's you. What? Everybody says it's your baby. Everybody says it's your baby. It's Chelsea baby.
You want to sit down here?
Dan baby has had his arm ripped off. He's not fall. Get it for you.
And if you sit down, I'll let you hold it. All right, I'm going to ask this baby out.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
Judy.
Judy.
Okay. Your baby's right here.
Mike, he must have left it up.
Hey, Megan, can you mute your mic for me? And I think that's it.
Hi, Hannah. How are you doing?
All right, you're going to see me on 2 cameras here.
Hi, Dee. Love you.
All right, guys, let's get started. I will try to talk pretty loud, but if you cannot hear me on the computer, please chime in and let me know. I'll try to use my big theater voice, my big stage voice. Whenever I do these, Judy likes to come up and hang out with me. How you doing?
No, I don't know.
Let's do it. Do we go sit down somewhere?
That's what I was.
Yeah, I know. You do? Yeah. I know. Do you want to go for a walk? Let's go for a walk.
Take him by the.
We're going to talk about what we just did right there. That's what we're going to talk about. We don't have any hand sanitizer, right, do we?
Yep. Spray. Baby Chelsea is not very clean. Would you rather sit over there?
I don't know where this is.
It's okay. You can sit right there.
It's okay.
You can sit
don't know what it is, guys. But whenever I start talking, residents want to come and stand right next to me and be with you guys, which is exciting. But it does let us need to practice a little bit some of what I'm going to teach today. Sarah, do you want to help? Me director.
Come this way.
There you go.
I don't know where my people are. We're just hanging out.
No, I want to do just.
I don't know what I should be doing. We're just sitting here listening.
All right, one more time, here we go. That's part of having residents, guys, is being able to adjust on the fly. Nothing here is an emergency unless it's an emergency. So what I mean by that is, unless something's actually happening in this building that's going to keep us from being unsafe, like a fire or a tornado, or somebody having a heart attack or a stroke or a seizure, we don't need to move like it's an emergency. Even if there's a meeting going on and you're trying to start speaking to a group of people, if you need to help take some time to redirect somebody, that's totally fine. And that's the first principle I want to talk to you guys about today. Under this framework, everything that I say and teach you guys today is about supporting that framework. I'm going to teach you some things that are defensive strategies to keep yourself safe and to keep the residents safe. I'm going to teach you how to break away if someone grabs you. I'm going to teach you how to keep yourself safe in a room when you're interacting with someone. And I'm also going to talk about some of the principles to put yourself in safe situations. So at the outset, I want to say that as a principle, what we believe at Kemper House is that there's no action you need to take with a resident that is so emergent that you need to compromise your safety or their safety. Now, obviously, there are times when people that have dementia will do things that are unexpected or that they will escalate quickly. And so because of that, we're going to do some things to try to put ourselves in the best possible position to stay safe. But none of this is 100%. You can follow all these things I'm going to teach you, and you can still come up on situations where things will go sideways on you. So I want you all to be aware of that from the beginning. But generally speaking, if you start to interact with someone and they start to escalate, the best thing to do is to try to redirect them and reorient them, and then try to, again, to intervene. And if it doesn't work, you need to back off. And then we'll reapproach. Let's say I walk up to Chelsea and I say, Chelsea, it's time to get up and get dressed. And Chelsea says, no, I don't want to get up and get dressed. I might say, well, your family's coming today. Maybe you should get up and we could get you dressed and ready for them, go to breakfast. Any of that sound good to you?
My family hates me. I don't care about it.
All right. Well, do you want some help right now?
No.
If I can't redirect or reorient her to get on board, I'm not going to just push into that situation and make her more agitated with me. I'm going to back off and readdress it in a few minutes. If someone needs to get shaved in the morning and they say, no, I'm not going to do it, nothing you say is going to make me do it, I'm never going to shave my face again. I'm going to back off, and then after my morning group, I'm going to come back and say, hey, it's time to shave. What do you think? And they might say, no, I'm never going to shave. They'll never make me shave. And then I'll say, okay, I'm back off. And then after lunch, I'll come back again and say, hey, how about we get the shave in? Your family's coming today. My family's coming today? Well, absolutely. I want to get shaved. And so I'm gonna approach, and then approach again, and then approach again. At no point during that situation do I need to push in and say, you have to get shaven right now or else we're going to be in trouble. You've got to get this done. And even if you get mad or escalate, we're still going to do this. There's never a time where that's okay, all right, unless there's a true medical emergency going on. Because if you push someone with dementia into that space, they're going to react angrily and with frustration, right? So we have to back off in that situation. So I want to take everything I'm going to teach you and put it in that context, okay? Some examples of things that might fall in this category are shower, shaving, changing, in the morning to get dressed. But I want to make sure that everyone's aware that although that is the case, the nurse has the ultimate discretion to decide if someone needs to get up for a medical reason. For example, Sally has hypoglycemia, and if I don't check her sugar by 9 a.m., she could become hypoglycemic and go into some kind of diabetic coma or have a seizure. Obviously, in that situation, we need to get in and say, we need to check your sugar because it has to get done. And in that case, we'll use these strategies I'm going to talk to you guys about. But other than that, we don't need to put yourself or a resident at risk by pushing into a situation where they're escalating on you. Okay, I want to talk about, it's not reality, it's
orientation.
Thank you. Orientation validation. And this to me is from a principle that I learned a long, long time ago when I was doing theater called yes and. I don't know if you guys have ever watched a group do improv, like they do sometimes on Saturday Night Live when they just improv stuff that just comes up there. But improv is about one principle, and that principle is affirming what's going on and then adding to it. For example, if I was doing a stand-up sketch and someone say, I want you to be something like a lumberjack, and I was doing a scene with somebody, I would say, I'm a lumberjack, and they would say, yes, and let's cut down this tree. And I would say, yes, let's cut down this tree, and we're going to take the wood into town. And you can see that in that scenario, you validate what they say, and then you add to it. In the same way with a resident. If a resident tells you, I see purple elephants outside, what you should say to them is, I understand that you see purple elephants outside, and what I don't want you to say is, there are no purple elephants. Purple elephants don't exist, and you're wrong. Because you can't use logic to change the mind of somebody who's having advanced stages of dementia, because they're not at a place where they can understand your logic. Instead of that, you need to go to where they are and meet them in their space, and then try to find a solution to the problem in their space. So if I'm trying to get someone to go to breakfast, and Chelsea says, Dan, there are purple elephants outside, I'm going to say, I totally see that you see purple elephants outside. That's totally fine. We're going to go to breakfast, and then maybe after breakfast, we'll call the zoo and let them know what's going on. And we'll come back and check on the purple elephants later. So that you're not saying, no, that's not true. You're saying, yes, and we're going to go do something else. Because your objective is simply to accomplish the task you need to do at that moment. So you go there with them, you say yes, and then you move along with them and try to bring them into good space. Now, you're not always able to bring them into good space. And so when that happens, you have to be ready to do other things. All right. What I'm going to do now is talk about some of these concepts that will actually help you in these situations where you can't redirect them and they're starting to escalate and you can't redirect them easily, okay? The first principle I want to teach you guys is that the resident may not see, hear, or experience reality the way you do. If I walk up behind a resident, if I walk up behind Chelsea, my resident, and the first thing I do is come in and touch her like this, she has no idea that I'm there. I am in her personal space, and she probably would react angrily and aggressively, right? She might just turn around and give me a backhand. And if that happens, that's on me, not on her. The way you should approach a resident is from a distance, and ideally where they can see you. So at this space out here, I'm already going to be talking to Chelsea and saying, Chelsea, how are you? I'm going to come over and talk to you today because we have to get up and go to morning group. Now, at this space, I've engaged her. I'm trying to look her in the eyes. I make sure she can see and hear me, understand what's going on. But look where I'm standing right here. Chelsea, take a swing at me right now. If she is to swing or kick at me, does she have the ability to kick me right now? No, because I'm too far away. Before I enter her personal space, I'm going to make sure that I feel comfortable, that she's recognized me and seen me, that we've talked, and she understands what's about to happen. Then I would move into her personal space. And at that point, I'm going to be very conscious of Chelsea at all times. I'm not going to turn my back on her when I'm in her personal space. When you're in someone's personal space who's a resident, you should always be facing them, either from the side or directly, so that you can see them. And if she starts to react, I've got time to step back and get out of the way. All right, this next principle is one that I learned in paramedic school. Whenever I go into someone's home as a paramedic, I never put anything between me and the door. I can always egress safely and quickly if I need to. So if I come into Chelsea's room through the door right here, and I walk into Chelsea's space, and I come closer to Chelsea, and she starts to hit or kick or punch, I can just back out of there, and I know exactly where I'm going. Now, sometimes you're in a situation in a closed space where you can't back out of a doorway, but in your mind, you always have to be thinking, if I have to back up quickly to get out of the situation, which direction can I go quickly to egress, to get back away from it, and then reassess? If I'm in here with Chelsea and Chelsea gets mad at me and she takes a swing at me and I happen to be in her personal space, if my back is to her, she's going to be able to take 2 or 3 swipes at me, and I'm not going to have any idea what's coming until she hits me. So I'm going to be facing Chelsea, and if she swings, I'm going to step back and call for help, okay? I want you guys to call for help early, and I want you to call for help often. If you need help, call for help. I was in a neighborhood last week. I'm trying to think who was there. Michelle was there. It was a Wednesday, and I was walking past a resident who started tripping backwards. And I just happened to be walking past her as she started to fall. And I caught her as she was falling back, and she was going to come straight back and hit her head. And I just happened to be walking there, and I caught her as she was falling midair, and I called for help. I just said, help, I need help out here now. In about 10 seconds, I had an aide and a nurse at my side to help get her situated and back to where she was. I want you to do the same thing. I want you to call for help verbally if you need help. Help, I need help in here. It's totally fine to do that. You should do that. And at that, I want to mention one other thing too. Sometimes when you go into the spa or you go into someone's bathroom to do care, you're farther away. You're several doors away from help, right? And I think that sometimes aides and others think that the radio system is only for resource team or nurses, and it's not. If you're going to take someone into the spa to give them a bath, I want you to go to the nurse's station and pick up the radio and take it with you, so that if you need to call for help, you've got something there with you besides just your voice to call for help on. That's what they're there for. They're not there just for Bob and Greg and I to sit around and talk on the phone all day. They're there for, or on the radio all day. They're there for us to communicate with each other. So take a radio with you. Not only are you allowed to, I am encouraging you to do that so that you have a way to call for help. I'll come back to my list here. Okay, the next concept. When you have dementia, it takes you a long time to process and think because you have a lot of confusion. It's hard to hear, it's hard to see. You may have things going on in your mind that don't make sense. So you've got to give them time to respond. Now, it will feel uncomfortable to you to do this. For example, if I walk up to Chelsea and say, "Hi, Chelsea, I'm Dan. I'm here to give you your shower this morning." That was 10 seconds. That's how long you should give them to think and process about what's just happened before you elicit a response. I didn't even ask Chelsea a question. I just said, "I'm here, and this is what I'm here to do." And I waited that long just to see if she could process it and acknowledge me in any way. When you're giving your residents options, you shouldn't give them an open-ended question. I shouldn't say, "Chelsea, what would you like to wear today?" I should say, "Chelsea, I have a blue shirt and a red shirt. Which would you like to wear today, the blue shirt or the red shirt?"
Blue.
The blue shirt. Boom. One simple question at a time. That's a simple answer because it's too much to try to process of all the clothes you have, of all the things you can wear today. Just tell me what you want to wear.
The Tyrannosaurus Rex suit.
A onesie, that's a Tyrannosaurus Rex outfit. I love it. That's what Palmer would wear.
Purple elephants, Tyrannosaurus
She likes those big animals. So let's review what we just talked about. A lot of important concepts here. Enter the space and make contact with the resident long before you're up in their personal space, right? So that, and when you stop to talk to someone, stop at a distance that even if they were to just start to swing or kick or punch, you're removed from that situation. You're too far away for them to make contact with you. Once you've established that you're there and you're on her eye level, you make contact, then you can come into her personal space to start to help her. But if she starts to become agitated or angry, you can back away. And you've already got a plan in your mind about how you're going to back away and how you're going to get out of the space if you need to, right? The most important thing is to stay safe. If Chelsea's safe and I'm safe, there's no other priority at that point. Everything's fine. There is no emergency. Hear me say this now. If you're okay and they're okay, there is no emergency, right? And if there's no emergency, then we don't have to make a snap decision or move in quickly to a situation that's unsafe. You've got time to ask for help. You've got time to make a plan, and you've got time to reapproach that resident again with a plan. And maybe that means that we may have to use medication sometimes. So if that's the case, when I'm the nurse and I have to give someone medications because they're agitated, before we go into that space, we are as a team going to make a plan together and say, here's plan A. We're going to go in. Chelsea's got a great relationship with the resident, or Sarah has a great relationship with Chelsea. Sarah's going to come in and have a conversation with Chelsea. I'm going to come in. I'm going to give her shot real quick, and I'm just going to back out quickly. And that's plan A. Plan B, it doesn't work. We go in. She's agitated and angry. If she starts to kick or punch, we're all just going to back off, and then we're going to reformulate a new plan, and we're going to try again, okay? Because if you're not in harm's way and they're not in harm's way, there is no emergency. Please, please remember that. That'll help keep us all safe. But yes, why don't we insert that right? Hold on, let me see here. Okay, yes, we're going to talk about something now. Why don't I switch with you? And so Chelsea's going to talk about how to be in close contact and keep control and work with the resident in close proximity.
All right, so we're going to, as you guys, I probably showed you guys hand under hand technique in either VO1 or VO2. So you've seen it a little bit, but I just kind of want to add that to this situation and keeping yourself safe. So let's say I'm going into a room and I'm going to approach Dan. This is how not to do it, okay? First instruction here. This is how you don't want to do it. Dan, we're gonna get dressed today. I need you to start taking your clothes off, please. Let's take these off, Dan. Dan. So it's not very productive. It doesn't help very well. What you want to do instead is stop. Sorry.
That's all right.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea.
I'm gonna help you get dressed today.
Okay, that
Is
sounds
okay?
nice.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
All right. So we're gonna take this off.
Okay.
Take this off.
All right.
Okay. We're gonna start up here. We're
Okay.
gonna get washed up.
All right. That sounds good.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing, I have his hand here, so this eliminates, I have more control over his wrist, his elbow, so if he does try to, I have a little bit more control, but also pressure in the human palm calms him down. So this is helping to keep him calm while I am trying to get him to do what I. You see how you did the hand under hand? It goes from a handshake to the lock like this. Can everybody see that on here? From a handshake like this, just twist it up on your thumb. Because this, if you do this, this is not comfortable right off the bat.
See on the camera.
Oh boy, left hand.
Left hand, I know.
And then you twist it up. Because just straight like this is not going to be comfortable. And I'm up above him, so it can be construed as, you know, intimidating. I'm towering over him. And if I'm standing here, what's he looking at? He's going to start messing with my shirt, my name badge, anything that's right here in his line of sight. So that's why I come down to his level, down to his side, less intimidating. We can look at each other eye to eye, and I've already gotten his eye to meet me as I approached him when I got his attention initially. So it helps a lot. Okay? He does get to look into my blouse.
We're all wearing scrubs in this scenario, I
Yes,
suppose.
all wearing scrubs.
All right. I talked about calling early and calling often and keeping a radio handy. We talked about communicating with your team members. All right. I want to talk about one more concept, one more thing that I want to share with you, and then I'm going to teach you, if somebody grabs you, sort of how to break away from that if you need to. Okay? The reasons that places like ours, communities like ours, in other places, in other facilities, sometimes have a higher incidence of issues with people being hurt and residents getting hurt is one of two reasons. One, they asked people to do something and did not give them the ability to do it in a timely manner. So get all the residents up by 4 o'clock or else. Well, if that's your mandate, and if you do that or get written up, you're going to cut corners, you're going to get in there, you're going to try to get them up, even if they don't want to get up because you don't want to get written up. The second thing that can happen sometimes is that they say, hey, you're the aide tonight, you've got the whole building by yourself, and good luck, you'll be fine. That's another way to put people in harm's way. You don't have enough resources and personnel, you can't call for help, there's no one there to back you up, and it's just you by yourself. I promise you that I will never ask you to take an assignment that I would not take myself as an aide or a nurse or anyone else in the building, and I will never ask you to do something that's unsafe. So having that knowledge, knowing that I'm not going to ask you to be the only aide by yourself in the whole building, or that I'm not going to ask you to do everything by 6 o'clock in the morning or else, you have the power then to be able to make decisions that are safer and smarter for you and the residents. Because you don't have to put yourself into harm's way to make something happen and to feel like you don't have people you can call on to back you up, okay? Now, again, all these procedures are defensive procedures to help you stay safe, backing away, calling for help, keeping an open exit for you to exit a room if you need to. But sometimes, even with all that stuff working the way it's supposed to, sometimes you get in and someone will grab you inadvertently, okay? Or maybe if they're agitated, they're aggressive, they're confused, and you're right up in their space. So when that happens, why don't you go ahead and grab my wrist. So I just got grabbed, and I didn't want or need, this is not what I was anticipating. So I'm concerned that Chelsea's going to become aggressive. Now, when someone grabs you, some of the camera here, do you guys see how her hand is holding my hand there? The weakest part of this grip is between her thumb and her fingers. That's the weakest part of this grip, right? I want you to hold me as tight as you can, Chelsea. Okay, yeah. So, you guys see that?
Come on.
Yeah,
Get
come
up.
on.
Oh, you can see.
I'm going to do this a couple times. So what you want to do is use both arms and the weight of your body. Both arms and the weight of your body to pull out in that space that is the weakest part of her grip. And ideally, you don't want her to know you're going to do it. So
was not prepared for that.
exactly. So you want to go when you want to do this when they're not ready and not expecting it. You want to use all of Chelsea, okay? You want to use all the weight of your body and both arms to pull away from their grip as hard as you can. And what you want to do is turn. So you're going to use the whole weight of your body and pull away from them in that space that is the weakest part of their grip, and then immediately back away. So let's do it this way. So I'm going to come in. Chelsea, grab me. And I'm going to, the idea there is that you're already backing out of that space. You free yourself, and then you're backing out to call for help.
But that doesn't apply to like, you do that to 9-year-olds. 90
Yes.
pounds, they're gonna just fall.
If someone has a hold of you and they're going to hurt you,
So they're trump you, their strength trumps yours.
this is when you would use this maneuver, right? Obviously, if someone who is a little lady graduate
Like a picture.
and they don't have enough strength, to toss you around like a rag doll, then obviously that's a different situation.
Yeah, this is like.
But when you're in a situation and you don't know how to get out of that, this is how you do it. This is how you get out of a grip, okay? And it's harder if they grab you on both sides. I have a broken arm, so I won't try to do this. But again, the same thing would be, the weakest part of the grip is between their fingers and their thumbs. So that's where you want your energy to come from. And even when she's trying hard, you can still usually break away, okay? That is how you do that, and immediately you're backing out of the situation. You're backing out, you're calling for help. I'm going to stop there because I covered a lot of concepts in this short period. I talked about how to enter the space, how to communicate with the resident, making sure that you're always, unless you need to be in their personal space, that you're far enough away that even if they were to kick or hit or punch, they couldn't make contact with you. Unless you have to actually do care, and then when you're in that space, you're keeping your body toward them, right? You don't have your back to them, and then if something happens, you immediately know your plan to back away from that situation. All right? What questions from at home or in the room do you guys have about anything that I've talked about? If you guys need help, I want you to call early and call often. If you're away and that's part of the building where you cannot easily call for help, I want you to take a radio. I am telling you to take a radio with you so that it's not just for the resource team. I want you to have a radio with you so you can call for help. Blue Willow will give us more options. With the Blue Willow, you can push your Blue Willow. You can push a resident's Blue Willow. But more to come on that. Still take a radio with you because why not, right? Make sure you make eye contact, de-escalate. Remember, yes, and you're not there to try to convince them of reality. You're there to enter their reality and use that situation to help change the course. Again, so here's another example. I get up in the morning, Chelsea says she wants to go feed the chickens. If I want to make Chelsea mad at me, I would come in and say, there are no chickens. There's never been chickens here. It's ridiculous to go feed the chickens. If I want to use the yes and principle, I would say, yes, we will go feed those chickens, but first let's go to breakfast because I'm hungry. Are you hungry? Let's go to breakfast together. So you're using the yes and principle to validate their reality and then get them to follow you or move with you to whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And see. Any other questions? Did you guys online? Did you guys have any questions about any of those concepts or anything? Get my tie there. Yeah. Looking good. Thank you much.
I just had to shovel him during our.
I was swatting, and I have a broken arm too. All right, guys, thank you so much. Remember, there is a nursing meeting on Wednesday, and I think that's it. We're not, yeah, all right.
Make sure you signed in.
Make sure you signed in. If you're online, I think I got most of you, but let's make sure before you go.
Yeah, before you jump off. Denise, did you get everybody that's on here?
Yes, I did, Chelsea.
You did, thank you.
Yes, I got everybody.
Perfect. Yep, I put you on the sign-in sheet.
Oh, okay.
I take care of you, girl.
Yeah.
All right, peeps, anything you guys need before I log it off?
No, have a good rest of your day.
Okay, bye-bye.